2021 meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is now called to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented this evening. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rule of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. The board members may question any witnesses. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chair and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. At this time, I'll ask all persons who expect to give testimony tonight to please stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Raise your right hand if you plan to speak. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you all.
As per our usual, we will be taking cases tonight out of order based on respondents being in the audience. So gentlemen, for your record, the first case will be 0846. And then 1856, and then on page 2, at least my page 2, 4196, and then 3781, 3784, 3858, and 4897, and then we'll go back and finish up the rest. Okay? Okay, ex parte communications. I'll now ask that members of the board if they've had any ex parte communications with anyone regarding any of the matters that are becoming for the board this evening. If you've had verbal ex parte communications, please disclose the when, where, and with whom those communications occurred, as well as the sum and substance of those communications. If you receive written ex parte communications, please disclose the form of the written communications, who sent you the communications, and the sum and substance of those communications. Starting with Rod.
I've had none.
No, none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
None. None for me.
Thank you. Next, approval of the minutes. The minutes of the regular meeting held on September 8th, 2021. Has all the board members received a copy of those minutes?
Yes.
Yep.
Are the minutes, if the minutes are acceptable with no changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion approved. On to the first case. 0846.
Case number 21-0846, City versus Carlos Reynoso for the property located at 308 Springdale Place. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 8-102-13C, roofs maintained in good repair. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. City is evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated proactively on February 17, 2021. My inspection at the time noted a blue tarp covering being used on the roof of the residence to prevent moisture from entering the residence. This time I opened the case and monitored the location. On March 13, 2021, I noted no change, so I left the door hanger with a compliance date of April 23, 2021. An inspection on April 27 noted no change, so a notice of violation was completed with a compliance date of May 22, 2021. At that time, I obtained service at the residence on Natalie Reynoso. On April 28th, I was contacted by the Reynosos by email, who provided a copy of a claims letter and a building permit for the roof in the application. On September 9th, 2021, I checked the permit status and ascertained the permit had expired on August 17, 2021. and still there was no change at the residence. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the blue tarp on the roof. Exhibit number 1 is blue tarp on the roof. Exhibit number 2 is blue tarp at the rear of the residence. I'd also like to submit a copy of the insurance letter with the original permit application and a copy of the expired permit.
Accept those, thank you.
As of today's date, the blue tarp on the north side of the residence, which is exhibit 1, has been removed, but there is still a blue tarp at the rear of the residence that was taken on the 6th of October that you can visibly see from Bahamas Avenue behind the residence. So the property is still out of compliance.
Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none?
Thank you, sir.
Respondent, I understand, is here. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Natalie Reynoso, daughter of Carlos Reynoso. Address is 308 Springdale Place, Temple Terrace, Florida, 33617.
Thank you.
We had to wait on the insurance because were waiting on the check to send through for the approval. It's been approved, we received it, and they're gonna begin repairs. We have the contract of the roof repairs here and also the check of the deposit that was made to them. So I'm not sure if they submitted the permit for the city, which the company is supposed to submit it themselves. But they are working on the roof.
Do you want to submit that into the record?
You have copies?
That's your own copy?
It's original.
Okay, well, we don't want to keep your originals. But if you want to submit a copy of the check copy, you can do that since it is a copy.
Otra copia de esta, o solo original.
Es lo mismo original.
Yeah, so I guess they're both original.
Okay, then why don't you hang on to them then?
Okay. ¿Qué tú quieres hacer?
No,
What can we do?
So let me just reiterate what I just heard from you. So you have a contract, you've given them a deposit. Have they told you when they will start?
I believe they started repairs yesterday because they have to fix the insulation and the AC duct first, and then they're gonna go onto the roof.
Okay, do you believe that they will be done within the next 30 days with everything?
¿Tú crees que dentro de 30 días ellos van a terminar con el proceso del techo?
sí, ellos me dijeron que van a esperar por el permiso de la ciudad como una semana, lo más tarde.
He said yes. They're just waiting on the permit from the city. That's taken about a week, they told them.
Okay,
So they submitted it.
so even waiting for the permit, you believe that all the work will be done within the next 30 days?
Entonces, aunque ellos estén esperando una semana, ¿tú crees que el trabajo todavía va a terminar dentro de 30 días?
Sí.
Sí. ¿Cuándo ellos van a comenzar?
De que le den el permiso a la ciudad.
So yes, he believes so. As soon as they receive the permit approval, then that's when they'll begin.
Okay. And they have the materials and all that?
Yeah, they have the materials and everything.
Okay, any other questions for the respondent?
I don't know if it's for the respondent or not, but I have a question.
Okay, well,
Maybe for you.
okay.
So, there's apparently some work they're allowed to do without a permit? That's my first question.
That's not a question for me, it's a question for Tom.
Well, there wasn't a permit obtained, but it expired.
Right.
So I guess we're gonna just use a little discretion and
Okay.
We'll monitor to make sure they obtain a permit though.
Okay.
They haven't actually done any work, I guess they just did some cleanup and,
Yeah.
yeah, so. Any other questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll try.
Go ahead, Rod. You can have a seat, thank you.
Thank you.
But don't leave yet.
In case number 21-0848, I move
46.
sorry. Again, in case number 21-0846, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violation of the city of Temple Terrace City Code exists located at 308 Springdale Place, Temple Terrace, Florida 33617. Violations Section 8-102, subsection 13, subsection C. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation, which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation has been said violation will be corrected on or before November 10th, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order or before that date, they be ordered to pay fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. So, ma'am, why don't you come on back up for a minute so I can explain to you what just happened? So you have been found in violation of the code, okay? You have until November 10th to cure the violation, which means getting the permit, putting the roof on. Okay, if anything impedes that or interferes with that, and you can't make that November 10th date, you'll have to come back in front of us on November 10th and explain that, okay? Okay, so good luck, and hopefully, as long as everything's done by November 10th, there'll be no fines and nothing will happen, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next case?
She just took photos of the contract, sent me an email, so I'll be presenting that to the clerk tomorrow morning.
Okay, perfect.
The case file.
Okay. Ernie, since they're entering them by picture into the case file, is that something that needs to be distributed amongst the board, or?
Well, you've already made a determination. We didn't even pass it through. I will also say, did you take a picture of the check
He just
too?
took it right there, right now, and emailed it to me.
Okay, we gotta make sure I think we should mark out any account numbers on that because it becomes a public
yeah.
record.
Okay, but his testimony that it's being put is enough?
Yeah, well, should suffice
Okay.
as a,
That works.
as long as the party themselves are submitting it into the record.
Okay, thank you. Next case?
Case number 21-1856, City versus Alma Aponte for the property located at 101 Deer Park Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 8, 102, 13C, roofs maintained in good repair. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on April 19th, 2021 for a tarped roof which indicated a need for repair. I left a door hanger at the site with a reinspection date of April 26, 2021. My reinspection on May 4th showed no change, so a notice of violation was created on that date with a reinspection date of May 26, 2021. I posted the notice on the site, and a notice was also posted at City Hall, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. The resident did contact me to state that they were in litigation with their insurance company and could they have an extension to get the issue resolved, which I did grant. After a 3+ month extension with no work being done and no change in the situation, I prepared a notice of hearing on September 16th, and the case was scheduled for the October Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the site taken by myself on May 4th and September 16th, 2021.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the notice of violation being posting, and exhibit number 2 shows tarps on the roof. I also received a letter from a roofing company stating that they're waiting basically for the insurance company to approve funds to be able to install the roof. I can enter that into record if
Roll call.
Sure, sure, why not?
We'll accept it. Thank you.
Okay, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling. And I believe somebody was gonna be here for the property owner.
Yeah, they're here.
Oh.
Okay. Any questions for the code officer? Thank you. Were you sworn in?
He was not.
He was, yeah, okay, you're gonna need to get sworn in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm an attorney. I didn't realize that. I didn't
Oh,
had to do that.
Okay, you're representing them?
I am, yes.
Okay, then you don't need to be sworn in, okay.
Are you gonna be providing testimony or any type of argument? The testimony will need to be sworn in. If you're gonna say like, we are in litigation, blah, 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 that's gonna obviously.
I can be sworn if you'd like, if
Okay,
that
why don't you
makes
go ahead and
it
do that
easier.
just to cover the bases. Chris, why don't we swear him in?
I apologize. I would have stood up before if I
No, that's okay. I just didn't recognize you hadn't stood up, so.
You swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Name and address for the record, please.
Jeremy Bailey, 5453 Central Avenue, St. Pete, Florida. So, like I said, I'm an attorney. I represent the Apontes. This was a storm claim that happened in April. There is a need for a roof replacement. I was retained back in August to assist with the insurance portion. That is the factor here, that the funds that are needed to replace the roof are being withheld by the insurance company. We don't have a denial letter or some type of, you're not getting any money. Right now we're getting we need to process it more. We're in the investigation stage. That can take up to 90 days. Really at this point, I can't say that, within 30 days we can get this done. I can say that I've been involved since August and we're closer now than we were then. The Apontes obviously have the roofing company engaged. They're ready to go as soon as the funds are provided. So I was requesting a 60-day extension. I think that should be enough time to get the funds, get the materials, get everything purchased and ordered and put on the roof. So that would put us in like the December range from today to get that done.
December, okay. So the insurance company's had their adjuster out and he's done his inspection and they're not denying it. They're just saying it's taking longer to process.
Correct.
Okay, same question. Do you know, what I don't want to happen is, you get to December and find out that your roofer doesn't have materials because of something. Is he putting aside your roofing materials, or is there any kind of, do you have any kind of guarantee that he'll have the materials ready to go when things are ready to go, or?
I would say we have somewhat of a soft guarantee. I don't want to speak for them and say that they promised anything, but that they did say they have enough material. So once the initial deposit's received, they'll put it right in for. Excuse me, sorry, keep doing that. They'll put it right in for production. So which takes about 2 weeks from when the deposit's received to get the construction done. And it's only a one-day job, so it's not like this is going to be some type of 10-day construction project. So.
Very good. Any other questions for the respondent? Go ahead.
Do you have a permit for the work, and if so, will it extend for another 60 days or whatever it is you need to get the work done?
I don't believe a permit's been pulled yet. I think they wait until they get the deposit to pull it, because then that's when their clock starts to have to begin construction.
Okay, thanks.
Couple weeks for the permit, and then,
Yeah, I know sometimes this permit.
any other questions for the respondent? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
In case number 21-1856, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 101 Deer Park Avenue in violation of section 8-102-13C. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and other witnesses, along with other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and a notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before December the 9th. Sorry.
I think it's December 8th.
December the 8th, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine to be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have something. Do we not want to give them the 60-day? I guess this is for everybody. It seems like to me that there's really no pending action from them, that this is an insurance issue. They've retained a lawyer, they've taken necessary steps to prove that they're dealing with the issue. I mean, I would be fine giving them 60 or 30 days.
Gave him 60.
Give him 60.
Oh, I'm sorry, I must have
Yeah.
misheard your
December
motion.
8th.
December 8th.
Oh, I thought, okay. I apologize. I thought you were just going with the 30-day
No.
fine thing. So I guess that's the same as a 60-day.
Yeah.
So I apologize. Yeah, I'm for that.
Okay. Start serving you coffee instead of water. Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. So here's what happens. You have until December 8th before the fine starts. If something happens or nothing happens, and you're gonna need additional time or something, you need to come back to our meeting on December 8th to let us know that. I don't know how they're paying you, and I don't wanna know, but if it's not necessary that you bring your attorney with you, all you need to do is come back and tell us that you're still dealing with whatever, okay? So that's where we stand. And you look like you had a question. You good? Okay, okay. And if, like I said, as long as everything gets done by December 8th, there'll be no fine. If something impedes that, you need to come back to us on December 8th, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case?
Case number 214196, City versus Lisa R. Crenshaw Life Estate for the property located at 8535 Queen Brooks Court. Case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 810213B, exterior walls maintained in good repair. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Co-Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on August 3rd, 2021 for a stained front wall on the gable ends of the residence. At that time, I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of August 16th, 2021. On August 17th, I observed the stains were still present, so I prepared a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of September 7th. 2021. I posted the notice at the site and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on September 16th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared on that date, and the case was scheduled for the October Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by myself on August 17th and September 16th, 2021.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the notice of violation posting, and exhibit number 2 shows the stained gable ends. I had no contact from the resident, and the site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
This is exhibit 2.
Any other questions for the code officer? Is the respondent here? Come on up, state your name and address for the record, please.
Lisa Crenshaw, 8535 Queen Brooks Court, Temple Terrace, 33637. Lisa Crenshaw. Oh, so.
Floor is yours.
Okay, so I cleaned, but I didn't know what I was supposed to clean. So actually, I don't know what a gable is, and if you could point out on that picture what I'm supposed to clean.
The triangle piece at the end.
So in the,
At the front of your house? The triangle.
where it goes up, okay. Am I allowed to paint that?
It's your house, you can do whatever.
Well, I don't know, they were always, before they were particular about colors and that kind of thing,
I
so.
don't know, do you live in a HOA or anything?
Yeah,
Okay, well, if you live in an HOA, you may have to get approval for the colors,
okay,
but certainly it's your house, you can paint it if you want.
okay,
But there may be a simpler solution. You can, sometimes you can just pressure wash it and
I had pressure washed the part over the garage and the porch and the garage door itself and cleaned the front door and cleaned the mailbox, and I just didn't know what I was supposed to be cleaning, so,
But you can always call the code officer and ask him to come out and take a look at it. Say, is this enough? What else do I need to do?
okay.
They're happy to work with you.
Okay, well, I'm happy to clean it or paint it. So, but if you give me a little bit more time.
Any other questions for the respondent? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. You can have a seat, ma'am.
Okay,
Do it.
Thank you.
In case number 21-4196, I move the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code existed at the property located at 8535 Queensbrook Court. The code violation was 8-102, subsection 13, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and other witnesses, along with any other evidence, photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before November 9th? November 10th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So, you've been found in violation of the code. You have until November 9th to rectify the situation. If it's rectified by November 9th, no fine will be incurred. If it's not, there's a $25 per day fine thereafter.
So do I call the inspector?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, he will, if you don't call him, he'll be out there to look at it before the next meeting. But once you think you've got it done, I would suggest that you give him a call. Okay? Thank you. That's it. And as far as the other, I mean, they can't help you with paint selection or anything. If you have an HOA, you're gonna probably have to get their approval to paint it. And they may make you go through the architectural review committee or something. Again, like I told everybody else, if something is impeding you from getting all that done by our next meeting, which is November 9th, you need to come back to us on November 9th and let us know. Okay? Next case?
Case number 21-3781, City versus ITIM 617 LLC for the property located at 6127 East 111th Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 828A1 permits application required. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Lori Smith, Code Compliance. On July 15th, 2021, I was contacted via email by Community Development requesting a notice of violation to be completed referencing the open stop work orders at the residence. At this time, I completed a notice of violation with the compliance date of July the 28th, 2021. No one was at home, so I posted a notice letter at the front door and requested copies be sent both certified and first-class mail to the owner of record. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. On September the 28th, 2021, and today, Mr. Josue Calzada contacted me about the stop work order.
Ernie, could you close that back door, ask them to step outside? We got competing voices. Sorry, Lori.
That's okay, sir. Mr. Chairman and board members, on September the 28th, 2021, and also today, Mr. Josue Calzada contacted me about the stop work order and the notice of hearing. I told Josue to reach out to the Inspector Bennett to find out what was still needed pertaining to the permits, and we also discussed the code board meeting tonight. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on July the 16th, 2021, and a copy of the stop work order in Central Square.
Accept that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Exhibit number 1 shows a notice letter posted at the front door, and exhibit number 2 shows the stop work order in Central Square. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? And the fix for this is to get the permit?
Yes, sir. The respondent is in the courtroom this evening, sir, and would like to address the board.
But just for the benefit of the board, in order to rectify this, they simply need to get the permit.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you. The respondent is here and wants to say something. Come
Yes,
on
sir.
up. Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, sir. My name is Josue Calzada. My address is 11006 Saginaw Drive, Temple Terrace, 33617. Hello, board. Yes, I received.
Just a second.
Just real quick, if you could tell us what your relationship is to ITIM 617 LLC.
Yes, the house is deeded in that LLC.
Okay, are you the manager of that LLC?
Yes. Sorry about that.
Continue, sorry.
Yes. Yes, I've been working with a contractor who did get the remodeling permit. Apparently, he was not aware that there was a plumbing and electrical permit that need to be separate in the city of Tampa. My understanding from him is those go underneath his GC license. When I got the letters of this board, I contacted him, which he contacted the city, and the electrical and plumbing, which was what we were thought was necessary, have been already filed. It was today that I found out that there was also a mechanical permit that was being requested that was not part of the scope. So I did in fact speak with Miss Laurie, thinking everything was all set. I was actually trying to see if we can get this completed, me not to show up, and that's when I was made aware of the mechanical. So I tried to contact Officer Bennett, but was unable to do so. I think she was out doing that. So what I need to figure out, sir, is why they're requesting the mechanical, and if so, then if I need some more time to do that. But my understanding from my GC is that the mechanical is not required, and the plumbing and the electrical have been paid for, have been pulled.
So right now, the only thing that you're waiting for is some sort of clarification on the mechanical, whether or not you need it. If you need it, then you got to go through the motion of getting it.
That's correct, sir.
Does Amir have anything to add to this? You have anything to add? I mean, you don't have to, but if you do, come on up. You can have a seat, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm EMC building official. I checked the record this afternoon and I confirm what the gentleman earlier says. After the fact, electrical permit has been obtained. After the fact, plumbing permit has been obtained. The mechanical still is outstanding. And based on the information I received from Mrs. Bennett, they need some exhaust fan or kitchen hood fan for the mechanical. So, and again, she will be in the contact tomorrow with the contractor to explain the situation and ask him to come and get the permit for the mechanical.
That's what the mechanical is for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions for the code officers or the respondent? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Amir.
I'll do.
Thank you.
In case number 213781, I move that the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 6127 East 111th Avenue. Applicable code section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and a notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record for this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before November 10, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that date, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day of the violations, continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any action taken by the violator to collect the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
You have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. So, sir, you have until November 10th to get the permit or convince the city otherwise. As long as you get the permit, work doesn't have to be done, but you have to have a permit by November 10th. As long as that happens, there'll be no fines incurred, okay? Next case.
Case number 213784, City versus Natalie Ruth Holmes and Julia B. Tallant for the property located at 6112 East 110th Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, board members, Chairman Lori Smith, Code Compliance. On July the 15th, 2021, I was contacted via email by Community Development requesting a notice of violation to be completed, reference the open stop work orders at the residence. At this time, I completed a notice of violation with a compliance date of July the 26th, 2021. Affidavit of service was obtained on resident Ben Bailey. On September the 27th, 2021, Natalie Holmes contacted me about the stop work order and notice of hearing. I told Natalie to reach out to Inspector Bennett to find out what was still needed pertaining to the permits. At this time, I would like to submit copies of the stop work orders.
Accept that, thank you.
As of today's date, Mr. Chairman, the site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
They need plumbing and electrical?
There's 4 that they need, sir. There's 4 different permits that they need. I've highlighted each one, that you should be able to see each one. So it's 4.
Any other questions for the code officer? Understand the respondent is here. Come on up, state your name and address for the record. Thank you, Lori.
My name is Natalie Bailey, formerly Natalie Holmes, 6112 East 110th Avenue, Temple Terrace 33617. So we got the renovation permit, and I did not know that for what we were doing we needed electrical and plumbing. All we did was put a new light fixture and like fixtures for the tub. We didn't change or move anything, so I didn't know I needed those permits. And then I'm kind of wondering what the other 2 permits that we need are. Mechanical.
It's on there, but you can get with the code officer.
Okay. Yeah, so since then, I've been trying to figure out what I needed to do. I've talked to Inspector Bennett a few times, and then, here we are. So
Inspections passed.
we also have had inspections that have passed for our drywall and insulation.
Insulation, yeah, automatic.
Anything else you want to add?
You?
Any questions for the respondent? You can have a seat, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll do this one.
Thank you.
All right. In case number 21-3784, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 6112 East 110th Avenue. Violation Section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Lori Smith and Natalie Bailey, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and a notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before November 10th, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day of the violation. Continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
You have a motion, do you have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. So, you've been found in violation. You have until November 10th to cure that. That cure is to get any and all permits that are outstanding. The work doesn't have to be done, but you have to have the permits. Okay, in order to figure out, if you don't know what permits you need, you can get with the code officer after this meeting. She'll probably direct you to the building department. And like I said, all you need to do is get the permits. You don't have to have the work done. Okay? And if anything happens, whether it's on our end where they're taking too long to review and get to the permit or whatever, and you don't have the permit by our next meeting, you need to come back and let us know that. Okay? Thank you. Next case.
Okay, case number 213858, City versus BN Empire LLC for the property located at 11009 North 56th Street. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 828A1 permits application required. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively on July the 20th, 2021. My inspection revealed installation of a large concrete pad in front of the business without the required permit. At that time, a stop order was issued with a reinspection date of August the 9th, 2021. My inspection on the 16th of August, 2021 revealed no change. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with the compliance date of August 31st, 2021. The business was closed, so I posted the notice at the front door and requested copies be sent certified in first-class mail to the owner of record. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My inspection on September the 27th, 2021 revealed no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on the 20th of July showing the violations.
We'll accept that. Thank you.
Sir.
Any questions for the code officer? Thank you. Understand the respondent is here?
Yeah, yes, sir, he is. Also, Mr. Chairman, also engineer Odu Weil contacted me via email on Tuesday, October the 5th, 2021, and stated he would be submitting plans to community development this week to start working on the violations. But as of today's date, Mr. Chairman, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Good evening.
Have you been sworn?
Yes, I'm Wyatt Audit Engineer Record, and this is the owner of the plaza. I did communicate with emails, and I've been working with Amir on the site.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if the rest of you is.
The mask is
Yeah, I
affecting
understand.
me.
So I don't know if you want to adjust the.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Better, much better. Thank you.
Okay.
And also, if we can, just for the purposes of the record, are you the manager of BN Empire LLC?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, I'm the engineer of record. I did communicate with the officer here, and I sent her an email telling her that we're gonna be submitting some plans of correction, work to correct the situation and bring the property up to code. I know that the property is not to code as it is now, and it needs some modifications. I've been communicating with Amir on this, and I visited with Amir this site a couple of times. I took some measurements of there are some issues with trees. There may be some issues with the parking spaces. I did email Amir some of the plans, the site plans, and they came back to me today with some suggestions and to improve, which is really appreciated. I mean, that helps a lot. So I need probably a few days to adjust the plans, and then we'll just initiate the application after that.
Okay, so the plans have been submitted, they've been reviewed. And
Then submitted without an application, just between me and Amir through email.
Yeah.
So I can get to the point where it's acceptable.
Right.
Okay?
You haven't submitted them for approval
Not,
yet.
no, not yet. We did not fill up the application yet.
Very good.
But we will this coming early next week.
Good.
Yes.
And when do you think that'll happen?
Early next week,
Early
like
next
Monday maybe or Tuesday.
Any other questions for the respondent? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. You may have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
In case number 21-3858, I move that the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the city of Temple Terrace City Code existed at the property located at 11009 North 56th Street. The code applicable is section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1. This motion is sworn on the base testimony. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and other witnesses, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before November 10th, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move the fine be $25 per day.
Motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. So you have been found in violation. If you get your drawings in, you get your permit, you don't, again, the work doesn't need to be done, you just need to have the permit. So as long as you have the permit by November 10th, there'll be no fine. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. Next case, please.
Okay.
4897.
Yes, case number 21-4897, City versus Adel Wen LLC for the property located at 405 Park Ridge Avenue. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of section 128592, RVs, boats, and trailers. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen.
Yep. You standing up.
The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
What was the violation?
Let me just make sure that I got that right. Section 2828A1, permits application required, is the correct section.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated by me on September 1st, 2021 for roofing work in excess of 100 square feet being done without a permit. I posted a stop work order on the site with a reinspection date of September 8th, 2021. My reinspection on September 8th showed no permit had been applied for or obtained, so I generated a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of September 20th. My reinspection on October 1st showed no changes, so I prepared a notice of hearing and scheduled the case for the October Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on September 8th, 2021.
I'll accept that, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation, and exhibit number 2 shows the stop work order. This time, the site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Thank you. Understand the respondent is here?
One question I have.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Are they doing the entire roof?
No, they were only doing part of the roof.
Okay.
If I had to guess at a percentage, I'd say maybe a third of the roof.
Okay. What's the maximum they allowed without?
100 square
100
feet.
square feet.
100 square feet.
10 by 10.
Thank you.
We went down that road just for the purposes of the record, so the amount that you saw being worked on the roof, about a third, is greater than the 100 square feet?
That is correct.
Does the respondent want to say anything? No? Okay.
No respondent.
No respondent?
Oh, no respondent.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I thought we had a respondent. Okay. Seeing no respondent, I will entertain a motion.
I'll do this.
Thank you.
Still no permit.
No, no permit. As of today's date, nothing's changed.
And this is the case 21, 4897, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
In case number 21-4897, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of the city of Temple Terrace code exist on the property located at 405 Park Ridge Avenue. Applicable codes 8-21, subsection A, subsection 1.
Hold on, just for point of order, it's 8-28.
28?
Yes.
Yeah, 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1.
Yeah, I thought I heard you say 8-21.
A.
28, okay. We're on the same page.
This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer Douglas Allen, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of all which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violations be corrected on or before November 8th,
I think it's 10th.
November 10th.
November 10th, 2021. I'm confused with this one. If the respondent does not comply with this order or on or before the day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator is corrected the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
A second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? Motion carries. Next case, please.
Okay, I think we had, did we have one more Amir one, or that
No,
was
that was
it?
the last one.
Okay, great. So we can jump to unfinished business since we have two respondents here for that.
Okay.
So we can go with,
You want to jump to unfinished business, or you want to finish the other cases first?
we have two respondents, so we could take
Is
them.
it okay to do that out of order, Ernie?
Uh-huh, we have before.
We have before? Okay. Away we go.
All right, case number 21-1230, City versus Robert L. Perry and Dorothy L. Perry for the property located at 6312 Jacqueline Arbor Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight, and the respondent is here.
Okay. Come on up. You've been sworn in, sir?
I have.
Okay.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Baye Perry, power of attorney for Robert L. and Dorothy L. Perry. We have finally, we acquired the permit to replace the fence, actually, and all equipment and materials were dropped off and delivered today. So commencement will begin tomorrow morning to complete the new fence. I don't know if there's a copy of the permit is needed or anything required, but that is available.
Is there anything that you want to submit into evidence? That's up to you.
Well, sure, I can leave the copy of the permit. It's been acquired.
It is a copy, it's not the original, right? Okay. We'll accept that, thank you. So you're asking for an extension because you're...
Yes, I am asking for an extension, because that is due, it is eligible for, I guess, starting at midnight tonight, be fine.
Yes.
The work will be, I understand it'll be completed by the end of the weekend, starting tomorrow.
So you're asking for
An extension for 30 days? or-
30 days, okay.
But I've been in communication with the inspector, Lori Smith, and I'll definitely be reaching out to confirm immediately upon completion for inspection.
Okay, so gentlemen, all we need, if it's up to you guys, but all you need to do is make a motion to extend the deadline 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that.
Okay.
Is this still existing
No,
violation?
no, all you need to do is move that case number 21-1230, that the deadline be extended to whatever, if that's your motion.
Okay, yeah, I'll move then the case number 21-1230, in violation of section 12861E6, be extended for 30 days.
Okay, can you give us a date certain, please?
And that date would be November the 10th, 2021.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? Okay, so you have an extension until November 10th. As long as the fence and everything is done by November 10th, no fine will accrue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Okay, also on to unfinished business. Case number 213797, City versus John P. Siegler for the property located at 306 South Burlingame Avenue. Deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. And the respondent, John Ziegler, is here.
Have you been sworn in, John?
I have not.
Okay.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What was yours, sir?
I'd like to request an extension. Right now I had a company that was supposed to come out and give, the engineering company is supposed to come out and give the give me my blueprints and sign off on.
Let me just stop you real quick. For the benefit of this board, can you backtrack a little bit and tell us, what is the work being done, and then you can go in to tell us why you need the extension, okay? Just so for our benefit.
Yes, I'm supposed to be getting a building permit, a homeowner's general building permit, and then underneath that, file for I guess it'd be a structural, a permit for a load-bearing beam that I'm opening up an area in part of the house.
Okay.
So it's going to be a structural engineer will come out and just verify with the type of material based off of the length and the type of load that it's going to carry.
And tell us why you are requesting the extension.
Right now I have Belt Engineering. They're scheduled to come out this Friday at 8:30 in the morning. I had a company and they backed out because of illness, and this one could get it done sooner. So, I mean, they should be able to get me their paperwork part of it by, I'm guessing, Monday or Tuesday. I already have all the paperwork done that I need to apply for the permit. I just need to attach that to that and bring it in. So I should have that finished by next week, end of next week.
Any other questions for the respondent?
Is there, did you finish the work, or you're still waiting on the permit to continue the work?
The work is finished. They'll get the permit and then get the inspection and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the violation is for not having the permit, so.
I know.
Okay.
The walls open, and there's nothing, no sheetrock or anything. So.
Any other questions for the respondent? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Case number 21-3797, the violation at 306 South Burlingame Avenue for violation 8-28 subsection A subsection 1. I move the date for compliance be moved 1 month to November 10th.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. So you have your 30 days. If something happens and they back out or whatever, you'll need to show up again on November 10th and let us know.
Okay.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next case?
Okay. Should be, okay. Case number 21-2005, City versus Gordhan and Vishnukumar Patel for the property located at 12112 North 56th Street. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 81668B minimum standards commercial sanitation garbage. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated proactively on April 27, 2021 by Lori Smith. Her inspection that day noted overgrown weeds, trash in the parking lot, unmanicured vines on the rear of the structure, and a dumpster enclosure is in disrepair. 4 door hangers were left with the store clerk with a re-inspection date of May 5th, 2021. Our inspection on May 14th, 2021 noted that the trash was removed, the high weeds were removed. However, the dumpster and the vines still remained out of compliance. A notice of violation was generated on that same day with a compliance date of May 27, 2021. The notice letter was hand-delivered to the store clerk. I spoke with the store clerk on June 2nd and Lori Smith spoke to the handyman gentleman on June 3rd to give a clarification of the repairs. Another inspection was done on September 21st, 2021, and noted that the vines were removed from the rear wall, but the dumpster enclosure still remained out of compliance. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation that was taken by me on September 22nd, 2021. Exhibit number 1 notes the left side of the dumpster enclosure in disrepair. Exhibit number 2 shows the right side of the dumpster boards were damaged. Exhibit number 3 shows the front panel is not a neat appearance. I'd like to submit at this time.
We'll accept those, thank you.
So it's in compliance.
It's in compliance. As of October 11th, 2021, the dumpster enclosure is now in compliance, and I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
We'll accept that, thank you. Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you.
I'll do.
Thank you.
In case number 21-2005, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of the city Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 12112 North 56th Street, with the code, applicable codes 8-166, subsection 8, subsection B exist. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Tom Baroni, along with any evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation, all which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. Next case.
Okay, case number 214239, City versus Progress Residential Borrower at 9 LLC for the property located at 8711 Morrison Oaks Court. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10.3B, sanitation grass weeds, Section 8.102.13C, roofs maintained in good repair, and Section 8.102.18A, sanitation shared area, maintained in good repair. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated by me on August 5th, 2021. I observed the following 3 violations: overgrown conditions, debris and growth on the roof, and unmanicured vines on the exterior walls. I went directly to a notice of violation with a reinspection date of August 23rd, as this is a corporate-owned rental property. My reinspection on September 16th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared on that date, and the case was scheduled for the October Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on August 5th and September 16th, 2021.
We'll accept those, thank you. Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation. Exhibit number 2 shows roof debris. And exhibit number 3 shows roof growth and debris. This time the site is in compliance, and I'm submitting an affidavit of compliance, and I'm seeking a finding. We'll accept that, thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
So two violations, there were 2 violations, right?
3, but they're all in compliance.
3, but they're all in compliance. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll take it.
Thank you.
All right, in case number 21-4239, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property did exist at the property located at 8711 Morris Oaks Court. The violations were Section 10-3, subsection B, 8-102 subsection 13 subsection C, and 8-102 subsection 18 subsection A. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Doug Allen, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that no fine be imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Okay, last case on hearings is case number 21-4556, City versus Peninsula Holding Group LLC for the property located at 533 Broxburn Avenue. Cases before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10.3B, sanitation grass weeds, Section 1035, sanitation abutting property, and Section 8-10222, maintenance of structures. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated proactively on August 18, 2021. My inspection at the time noted the front yard grass of the residence overgrown with weeds impeding growing into the street gutters, impeding water flow. The carport of the residence was also cluttered with what appears to be construction debris. This time I left door hangers with a compliance date of August 21st, 2021. My inspection on August 23rd, 2021 revealed no change, so a notice of violation was completed with a compliance date of September 3rd, 2021. Posted the notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner and agent. My inspection on September 21st, 2021 revealed no change. This time I would like to submit some photographic evidence of the violations at the property.
Accept it, thank you.
Exhibit number 1 is the notice posted at the door. Exhibit 2 and 3 is the overgrown yard in the street gutters, and 3 is the cluttered carport.
Thank you. Any other questions for the code officer?
Sir, at this time, the property is in partial compliance. The yard has been cut. The cluttered carport has been cleared, but there's still weeds impeding the gutters in front of the residence.
Okay, so is either one of the sections closed, or are they both still open?
The overgrown grass and the cluttered carport maintenance structure can be closed because those are in compliance. The only one that's open is abutting property.
It's 10-35.
Okay, so 10-35 is the only one that's still open.
Yes, sir. So I have affidavit of compliance for the other 2.
Okay, we'll accept those, thank you. Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
He hasn't spoken much tonight.
Oh, yeah.
In case number 21-4556, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence of the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 533 Broxburn Avenue, in violation of Section 10-35. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code and Enforcement Officer, along with other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and a notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before our next board meeting, which would be November the 10th. If a respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $50 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second, just to open it for
So
discussion.
motion is seconded, any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a
Well,
couple.
one at a time, go
Okay.
ahead, Bill.
Two things. Number one, first of all, I thought we had a script that we would use for partial compliance.
Yeah.
We do.
You just read the wrong one, that's all.
Okay, I didn't find it, I didn't have it in my handout.
It's there.
It's on the next page, Alan.
Okay, the committed and existing violations, or complied, okay. And The second question I have is if it's a single violation, we've been going with $25 per day, per violation instead of 50.
Yeah, that's fine, it'd be $25 per day.
And also, my question was, it's just one violation now left?
Yes,
It's
10-35 is the only one that's
that-
not in
yes.
compliance.
Okay.
Ernie, you look like you want to say something.
Because we didn't, I don't think the motion, did the motion indicate that there were two complied out?
No.
Two cases?
No.
I just wonder if it's gonna be just cleaner to start over with the.
I'm thinking the same thing, that we probably should redo the motion. But let's, is it okay if we finish our discussion? Because there was some other issues I think that people wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely, I just.
And we can, we still have to vote?
Yes, why don't you?
Why don't we vote and not have it pass? And
And try it again?
Try it again. So is there any other discussion on this? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay. So the motion fails, but only because you read the wrong motion, and apparently we had some disagreement as to what the daily should be. So if you would,
I have a question.
yes.
There's one violation, which is 10-35, and there are three other violations that
There's
have.
two others. There's 10-3 subsection B is now in compliance.
Yeah.
8-10222 is now in compliance.
Correct.
10-35 is the only one that's not in compliance.
What about, okay, 10-3 and 10-3B is the same, more or less the same thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, okay, I'll start that over then.
Very good.
Okay. In case number 21-4556, I move the city as proven by greater weight of the evidence of the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 533 Broxburn Avenue, in that the violations, two violations have been taken care of, which is 10-3 and 8-102, subsection 22, but the one that is still open.
You can just read it. You don't have to go off
Okay.
off the.
Okay, this motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed for the violations of the code sections 10-3 and 8-102, subsection 22, because of violation are brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing. I further move that the remaining violation be corrected on or before our next meeting, which is November the 10th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day that violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day if the violation of 10-35 is not taken care of by our next meeting.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any,
Just real quick, for the purposes of the record, that deadline date would be November 10th, 2021.
yes. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. I believe that's all the new business, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now moving on to unfinished business.
Okay. Case number 210786, City versus James L. Evans and Joyce A.G. Evans for the property located at 11305 East Queensway Drive. Extended deadline for compliance is November 10th, 2021. Case number 212014, City versus Rycal Construction LLC for property located at 823 East River Drive. Property is in compliance for Section 828A1 dated October 7th, 2021. Case number 211230, City versus,
We did
that one we did. The next one, case number 212965, City versus Joan M. Brown for property located at 8204 Collier Place. Deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Silva for Section 12861E3 dated September 16th, 2021. Case number 213728. City versus Craig Brunstein for property located at 418 Ferncliff Avenue. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 213734, City versus 2017-2 IH Bar LP for the property located at 9831 Terrace Trail Lane. Deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Allen for Section 810213C dated September 13th, 2021. The next one we did. I had two not on the agenda. Which were case number 213684, City versus Christopher Thomas and Lawrence Power for property located at 508 Herschel Drive. An affidavit of compliance was submitted for Section 1034 dated September 28th. And case number 210260, Natalie Anderson for property located at 105 Deer Park Avenue. An affidavit of compliance was submitted for Sections 103B, 1034, and 810213C dated September 9th, 2021. And then whenever you're ready for quarterly liens list review.
Let's do it.
Okay. I have received all affidavits of continuing noncompliance in the following cases. Case number 080292, Christopher B. York, 7604 Leon Avenue. Case number 162397, Dudley A. Black, 9408 Hidden Ridge Place. Case number 172613, Dudley Black, 9408 Hidden Ridge Place. Case number 172746, James Stevens Johnson and Glenda Johnson, 104 Holland Avenue. Case number 194940, Robert and Lisa M. McNeil, 9406 Hidden Ridge Place. Case number 21531, Vincent R. and Cynthia J. Atkins, 5513 Temple Heights Road. Case number 24202, McNatt Family Enterprises, Ltd., 12904 North 56th Street. Case number 25214, Timothy Thibodeau, 113 Glenridge Drive. Case number 210604, Anthony and Jillian Moore, 941 North River Hills Avenue. Case number 210070, A&T Hospitality LLC, 13294 Telecom Drive. Case number 211177, Nicholas Drew Teeling and Rachel Teeling, 716 Druid Hills Road.
Okay. Any other board business before we move on? Yes, sir.
Yes, the young lady over here to the left is the intern in our legal department. She came in, her name is Halima Nufal. She came in specifically to watch a quasi-judicial board in action.
And she's still awake.
Yes. Oh, you guys did
Well,
well.
welcome. How long are you going to be with us? Why don't you come on up?
Oh,
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I know.
Tell us where you came from and how long you're going to be with us.
I am from Cooley Law School, and I am graduating in December, so I'll be here until December.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been interesting.
Okay. Any other board business? Any new business? Okay. I have two things. One, for the next meeting, I want you guys to just line up, and Kristen's going to call who she thinks is the person that's going to be presenting the case. Since you seem to have a little confusion tonight, we're going to add to that confusion. Secondly, I did. All of you got the email from Pam about the
Integrity.
presentations. I did sit through that today. While it's not required for you guys, I strongly recommend that you take that one or some other form. Kristen is looking into kind of some self-directed courses. This one was led by a former City of Tampa City Council member. It was very good, and, you know, I've been doing this for a while, but there were some things that I had forgotten, and it's just good for you guys to hear some of that. And just one takeaway, for instance, if, you know, for instance, if I run into to Rod's son out there somewhere, and I say to him, man, I really hope your dad gives it to him tonight, gives it to whoever, John Smith. That's a violation, because I'm using his son as a conduit to get to Rod. Even though it may have just been well-meaning, not malicious conversation, that is a violation. So those are the kind of things that they'll talk about. They had a section specifically on quasi-judicial boards today, which was good. So if you don't get a chance to do that one today, you know, she'll be giving you, as they come up, she'll be giving you opportunities to do others. Again, it's not required, but I recommend it, Pam recommends it, I'm sure Ernie recommends it.
I just wanted to mention, it's exactly been a year since I took the same course. I don't know if you took the same one.
Yeah, take it every year, yeah.
When we
It's good
did,
to be reminded, yeah.
when we did the city council.
Yeah, and this one, the pace was such that, you know, I didn't just, you know, I was reading depositions at the same time, so the pace was such that you can multitask and still get out of it. There were some quizzes there that I passed, and they will send me a certificate in the next 5 days through email saying I did it. And for some of us, depending on what your needs are, like if you're an attorney, you can submit it for CLEs. And me as a contractor, I don't know if I'll get them or not, but I will be submitting it to see if I get any CLEs out of it. So, anything else? Okay, move. You have something? Okay.
For under new business.
Okay.
So I wanted to bring this as a follow-up to last meeting, the discussion on lien reduction process change, the proposed change. So I wanted to bring this in front of this body, in front of this board, in hope that we can come to some understanding, some recommendation that I'm hoping that our chairman can take to city council. So having said that, I do have my own thoughts on proposed changes, and I will share those with you, but I just wanted to hear from everyone to see if we can come up with a recommendation about the new process.
A little confused, because there's already been a recommendation. Are you opposed to the current recommendation?
Well, what I'm asking for, I guess I'm asking the code board recommendation. I know there has been a recommendation from the, was it from the city attorney?
Well, let me see if I can't simplify this for everybody. Right now, there is an ordinance being drafted up that basically changes how lien reductions are handled. As you guys know, the way it happens here before was it ultimately, the respondent fills out a form, it comes to us, we hear it, we make a recommendation to council. At the next available council meeting, I make the recommendation to them, and they vote on it, okay? The process that is how the process is being changed through the ordinance is the respondent fills out the paperwork, just like they did before. They set up a meeting with either Ernie or Pam with our council. They negotiate a reduction or not, okay, because there's really, just so you understand, there's no obligation by us or anybody to give somebody a lien reduction. And so they wouldn't negotiate any lien reduction, and that's it. The only time it would come in front of the council or anybody else is if the person that they were negotiating with didn't like the lien reduction or thought that they were being somehow mishandled. Then it would go to the city manager first, and if he can't come to some sort of agreement between the parties, it would go back to city council. But again, the citizen has no right to a lien reduction. Okay, it's something that the city offered in an attempt to get properties into compliance and get houses sold, et cetera. The reason for changing it was to make the process more efficient, okay? Right now, people, and it really becomes a deterrent when the houses are trying to be sold. And you see it time and time again, that people come in front of us, they didn't know, they sold the house with fines that they bought, they didn't know, or they knew, and they thought this one thing or another. That this is an attempt, and I, quite frankly, personally, I agree with it, is an attempt to streamline that process so that people aren't waiting months and months and months to get a lien reduction, and B, we don't interfere with a potential sale of a property. And that, and also, that if someone is thinking about buying a property, they can go to the city ahead of time, meet with the city attorney, come up with some sort of pre-purchase agreement so that they know that, well, here's what you gotta fix if you buy it, and here's what here's what we can do about the lien. So it's a win-win for the respondents, in that A, it gets done a lot faster. B, potential buyers of houses that have liens on them can know ahead of time going into the sale what's expected of them, and it just makes it cleaner for everybody involved. That's at least that's my opinion.
I second.
Sorry, could you, the current proposal is, under, our council, Ernie or Pam, and then it goes to
No.
council, or just that one body?
If the parties, if it goes to Pam or Ernie, probably Pam most of the time, as long as the parties agree to everything, that's where it stops. If they don't agree, then the city manager will get involved to see if he can't have the parties come to some agreement. If those two parties can't agree, then I guess they have, they can go to council and say, whatever. But again, we keep in mind, the city has no obligation to, the deal is lien reduction or original fine. There's no obligation by the city to give a lien reduction, and there should be no expectation that you will get a lien reduction. It's a negotiation. It's a service that the city provides to try to bring houses into compliance and make things easier for the respondents.
May I ask a
Just a second, let Ernie speak.
Well, let me just add a couple other things too, is what the legal department can do is, we have legal considerations that really is difficult for the board and the city council to do. And there's other considerations that we can do that is not within your jurisdiction. For example, if there's like permit fees or any types of fees.
Outstanding water bills or whatever, right, yeah. And that way we can, like right now, and it's come in front of us, there's been properties that have outstanding liens and outstanding utility bills. This board can't do anything about the utility bill, okay? We can only address the lien. The way the ordinance is being drafted is that the attorney negotiating with the respondent would have the ability to tie it all up in a nice little bow and have an agreement for everything. And maybe that means a reduction in the outstanding balance on the water bill plus a lien reduction, or full payment of the water bill and a lien reduction, or whatever. And again, all that is to expedite for the respondents a settlement for all the outstanding issues involved with a particular property.
David, may I have?
Yes, sir.
But that's not gonna take the role of Director Barone.
No.
It's gonna be communicating with the attorney.
Absolutely.
On the cost of the city and what's satisfactory for him or for the city.
Well, what you're asking is, yes, absolutely, we'll be getting input from Director Barone as to what the costs were for the department, so we can account for that.
The front end doesn't change. I mean, the front, if, right now, if somebody wants a lien reduction, there's a form they fill out, an application. That doesn't change. Once Ernie and or Pam get that application, they're gonna call Amir, they're gonna call the water department, they're gonna call Tom, and make sure that whatever else is outstanding, so they know the full picture when they sit down with the person. But all that's gonna happen a lot faster than waiting for us to come to us, and then waiting for us to make a recommendation, and then going to council to make a recommendation to them, and then have them vote on it. It's just a way to streamline it, and to take care of, because a lot of times, especially lately, it's not just a lien. There's a lien, and there's outstanding utility bills, and, property tax issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's an attempt to wrap it all up in a neat bow, have it done more expeditiously. Certainly, Tom's gonna be involved now, and Tom will be told afterwards what the deal was. Specifically, it's important if someone is buying a home that has liens on it, they have to be told, so that they're not putting a notice on a house where the person has a purchase agreement with the city, that they know they gotta fix A, B, C, and D, so that we're not tagging them again for something that they had already agreed that they would have fixed by December or something. So that's the way that the ordinance is my understanding of how the ordinance will be written.
So, did you have like a proposal of how you would like to see it?
Yeah, I mean, I have a list of concerns about the proposal, and I wanted to really hear from the individual board members of this code member what they think about the proposal, the new proposal. My biggest concern is that the citizen, when they ask for a lien reduction, they like it to be reviewed by members of their peers. So it seems to me that we are taking a board-centered process and making it maybe, for the lack of a better word, less transparent. So that's one of the issues I have with that. As far as streamlining the process, I totally agree it needs to be streamlined. But I think the main problem here is that the buyer, the petitioner, are usually not allowed to apply for lien before they are in compliance. So if they are allowed to apply for a lien reduction before compliance, then there is no issue. I just don't like to take a process that is public sanctioned with public comments and make it less transparent. That's really my issue with this. When a buyer buy a distressed property and they know they have a lien on it, and they usually takes them quite some time to bring it into compliance. So 2 months is really not a big issue. It probably take them about 1 year to bring it into compliance. Maybe 2 boards are overkill. To take it over to 2 boards are overkill. Take it to the code board and then the city council board. Maybe it should stay with 1 board, but I would definitely like to keep it within public setting of a board setting. These are my thoughts on the issue.
Good, Tom?
Just I want to make 2 comments, and I heard you. Just so you know, a property had to be in compliance for 35 days before it could be a lien reduction presented to the code board.
That's not gonna change.
I don't know. It's not
gonna change.
Okay, but I'm just saying in the
It has to
past.
be
I'm just saying in the past.
35 days, yeah.
Right.
For somebody that it owns the property, okay? They still can't, the front end doesn't change, okay? If you own the property, you cannot file for a lien reduction for 35 days. It has to be in still compliance. That doesn't change. What will change is the speed at which they get a lien reduction after the 35 days. And more importantly, for people that are buying distressed properties at auctions or whatever, it will give them an opportunity and more transparency to know what is expected of them once they buy the property. And they're not coming to us with basically a crapshoot, coming to us after the facts and quite frankly, lying to us about what they knew or didn't know when they bought the property.
And the other thing I'd like to say, sir, is when there's a change of ownership, the fine stops. So I just want you to, so if a person buys a property, that accruing fine stops the day of the purchase of the property. And then the code department will generate another case once the new owner takes over the property. Eventually, the code officer may open up a case if the violation still exists. So I just want you to understand that as well.
And quite frankly, change the new ordinance would clean that up a little bit, because they could put together what would be an agreement between the new buyer and the city as to what would need to be fixed and when it would be fixed by.
Right.
And that would be an agreement between the new buyer and the city, not coming in front of us and us trying to guess how long something's going to take or whatever. So as far as transparency, I think if I'm an investor for distressed properties in Temple Terrace, I'm all in favor of this, because they're gonna know before they buy it. And if they can't, if they sit down with Pam and they can't come to an agreement, they can go to the city manager, and it's at the end of the day, no more, no less revenue is going to come into the city because of this process. But what we will have is the homes being brought into compliance faster. We'll have more people willing to invest in the city, because the process is going to be more transparent. They'll be able to know before they buy it what's expected of them. And to me, it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, it will be more transparent to the buyer, but what about the neighbors? What about the public? That's really what I'm talking about here.
I mean, the fact that the neighbor doesn't know how much the lien reduction was for?
Let me address that just a second, because I think there's a little confusion. If it goes to the legal department, if this passes, remember, the legal department has the best interests of the city at heart at all times.
Right.
There is no way we're going to cut this city short. I can probably guarantee that there will never be less money collected than what is happening now. In fact, I would probably guess there will be better collections at this point, more consistent. And it'll allow us to work with people so that if we do have distressed properties, people can come in, they know what what to expect. As the chair was saying, not only if they bring it into compliance within the appropriate time, what that liability is going to be to them, but they'll also know that if they don't bring it into compliance within the time, they bought the property with the entire lien on it.
Right.
And that's going to be responsible. It will be a more efficient process.
It will be more efficient, but what do you think of the suggestion that maybe we should allow the buyer or the owner to apply for lien reduction before coming into compliance?
Well,
that would
that's why the
streamline
lease agreement comes into play.
Sure, so you
Because
that's the
they
plan.
can't bring it into compliance until they own the property.
Correct.
They're not going to buy that property if it's got $100,000 and some lien on it, and they have no idea what's going to happen when they buy it, whether they're going to get a significant amount of reduction or not, to take in, as what's kind of happened in the past.
Ernie,
How would we address the public interest, the neighbors?
The public interest is better served if we have more people that are interested in buying distressed properties. And if an investor knows that he can go to the city ahead of time and say, hey, look, here's a distressed property, it's got $300,000 worth of liens on it, the property itself is only worth $150,000, what can we do? And they make an agreement between the two of them, and he buys it, and that happens a lot faster than him. Maybe he doesn't well, first of all, if you're a smart investor, you probably wouldn't even buy that, because you don't know what's going to happen. I think that it makes it more transparent, and it cleans a lot of this up, so that you get more investment into our city than you would doing it the way we're doing it now. Because right now, they buy it, they hope nobody finds out, they come in front of us, they lie to us, and then we have to figure out what it is. Tom goes through all the machinations of what the city costs are. We come in, sometimes you guys agree, sometimes you don't. And then by the time it gets to us, 3 or 4 months have already passed. by the time it gets in front of the council, another month or two has already passed. So meanwhile, these people don't know what's happening, and they have, I mean, it was said in public at one of the last lien reductions that this guy was considering not reinvesting in the city because of the way it was handled. Now, maybe it was a lot of smoke, I don't know, but this at least brings transparency to the process for especially for those that are thinking about investing in distressed properties within our city limits.
I have a couple of questions for Ernie. We heard that other cities are doing
Need to go? Go.
this. So can we get exactly how they're doing it? Did you look into the other cities how they're doing it? And what's our town?
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, Alan. Before you go, come back and have a seat just for a second, please. Because I think this is where we're coming down to. Are you opposed to the ordinance as you understand it today?
Well, I don't understand the ordinance, but from what you said, it certainly sounds good, but I'm not opposed to it at all.
Okay, thank you.
Or do you think we're gonna have some kind of motion today? I mean,
I
we have a
don't know.
quorum.
I mean, I don't know.
We have a quorum without him,
I don't know what
so-
Samir wants.
I think he asked for all of us to say what we thought, and I'm prepared to do so when it's my turn, but.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's the truth. I don't understand even the question.
Okay, well, if at the end of the,
Yeah, but
I mean, it's up to you, but if you're gonna be asking for us to make a motion to somehow change what's already in process, then I'm gonna ask you to stay.
okay, well, I don't understand it well enough to know when.
The most we could do is make a recommendation to council, that's all.
Yeah, but
I
if
think
you're
that's all
gonna
we can do.
ask for a motion to make that recommendation and it needs to be voted on, then the full body that's here tonight needs to vote on it. That's all I'm saying. But I don't
We
know
have a
what to.
quorum without him.
We do, but he's here and he's heard it, and.
Sounds like he doesn't really know
So,
about it very much.
so I guess the way, if we're gonna cut to the chase, are you proposing a motion to make a recommendation to council that they revisit the ordinance?
Well, I don't know if the ordinance has been actually fully proposed. I mean, I think there was a proposal, and I
Well,
don't think
My
there was.
they're drafting the words right now.
Yeah.
So, if,
Scheduled to go for first reading, to be discussed and stuff
Perfect.
on the next city council meeting.
Right, so really what I wanted to do is to hear from each and come up with a recommendation, not necessarily a motion or anything like that, maybe just a recommendation that the chair will take to the council, and this is what we discussed. If we have to do a motion, we'll do a motion, but I definitely don't want to keep Alan.
I don't either, but
Important.
it's important, and I understand you guys are not as close to it as I am, because I participated in the discussion for the ordinance. I haven't seen the actual language of the ordinance yet. I don't know that I will. I mean, they don't need my permission. When do we expect to see the language? So the next meeting is when the first reading for the new ordinance will be?
The 19th.
Okay, so I guess, Samir, what I'm asking from you is, I mean, you keep saying recommendation, but I can't go to council and say the board recommends
Okay, we'll do a
something.
motion.
So do a motion to somehow summarize what it is that you either want to change from what you understand, or what you want to add, or just somehow summarize what it is that you want done.
Sure, have we heard from everyone?
Yeah, I'll
Well,
give just,
we can do that, and we can hear from everyone, but.
before he makes a motion,
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my general thoughts on it when I first heard about it were, we're kind of centralizing a power that exists currently among this board, which I like. I totally agree that this process should be sped up and needs to be changed. So I think everybody agrees with that part. The only part that I kind of, do think is not how I would have it done, is that we kind of don't have a maker-checker process, it seems, at least that involves a public representation and/or the council, which are, appointed by voters. I would like to see just like a control put in where when Ernie comes up with an agreement with someone, it goes to council every 2 weeks, and they say, this is what we came to the agreement of, just so there's like a public square around it. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, well,
And-
to address that, there was discussion, and there will be language that I understand in the ordinance where the city council will be given a report
Yeah.
of what happens, how many lien reductions came in front of them, what the original fines were, and what the lien reductions were. So that, for just that reason, so that council can review that, and if they see things going off the reservation, we can change it.
Yeah, okay, that makes me feel a lot better about it then.
So there will be a report whether it's every 2 weeks or every month or something, I don't know, depending on how many lien reductions we get in that month. But there will be a written report given to council.
I know that there's going to be a report. I can't remember if that part was codified, but that is the absolute plan, is that there's a quarterly report. Yeah. And in answer to your question with, how are other people doing it? I did this for 13 years for the city of Tampa. I brought in, on average, except for like in the 2008 period when we had the big dip, $1 million plus a year. But they have tons of properties, tons of violations, much more. There's not going to be anywhere near that here. Yeah. But I have plenty of experience doing this.
And the city of Tampa is closely aligned with the new ordinance that they're proposing here. It's in that.
There's many parts, what the process, okay. The ordinance itself is, you don't get too involved, too detailed into an ordinance, but what it does is it delegates that it comes to the legal department and speaks briefly on what, kind of what's going to happen, that the application goes to the clerk's office, and then instead of coming here, it'll come to us. We'll get input from the code enforcement department. And again, I don't think the input from the code enforcement department is exactly codified, but that's going to be a very important part of the process.
So effectively,
We just basically having it come to us, it allows us, I do believe it talks about the compliance, the ability to do compliance agreements and stuff like that.
effectively you're doing something similar to what you did in Tampa. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody has a problem with you have done it for 13 years. I just, like collecting $1 million is great, but it's kind of circumstantial. Like sometimes we've given no lien reductions to some people and lien reductions to, 95-year-old people that are been in double Terrace their whole lives. Well, yeah, but what he said, it's not just about collecting as much money for the city as you can. It's very circumstantial. I think it shouldn't be up to 1 or 2 people. It should be up to the public, was kind of my thought. So if you were to recommend that to finalize the whole process, that Ernie does to the board or to the council before it's finalized, I would be for that, because it's just one layer of transparency that I think should exist formally. That's really my only issue with
It kind of defeats the purpose of effective.
Pretty much.
No, it doesn't, because council meets every 2 weeks, and it speeds up the process tremendously. Then it doesn't come to us, which we only meet once every month. So it would be much quicker. At max 2 weeks.
If you can get on the agenda. And I guess, I don't know, I think the fact that the council is gonna be getting a report telling them what lien reductions were made and what the reductions were made, I think that, to me, that gives me a comfort level.
Correct, but
Yeah.
that's a quarterly report, and it does not.
And it's after the fact.
It does not, you're right.
It's
after
too
the
late
fact.
after that. It's already been
And it
done.
does not address case per case. I think, I don't think the the proposed new process addresses really the public interest in this process. I would definitely be in agreement with your proposal that to bring it back to one
Just
of
for
the
finalization.
one of the boards, either this board or the city council board. I would actually say this board probably has more of experience dealing with this issue.
Well, the whole reason why we brought it in front of the council to begin with is because we can't finalize that.
Yeah, it would have to be council.
It would have to be council, not us.
Well,
We also meet once a month instead of once every 2 weeks.
Right, but we're changing the ordinance, so it can be.
No, but we don't, we don't have, you can't write an ordinance to give us that power. So it would have to
It
go.
would have to go to council after
Okay,
us regardless.
either way.
And we can't,
As long as there is public.
But they're elected by us.
and we can't
so-
deal with the other issues like outstanding water bills, et cetera, et cetera. We just,
Correct.
we don't have the authority to do that. So I'm still missing what part, you know, I guess if you could, right now, I think that ordinance is fine, I still do. But I see you have a concern, yeah, the new ordinance. I see you have a concern, but I'm not understanding exactly what that concern is. Do you think somehow that the respondents are not gonna be treated fairly?
No, that's what what I'm saying is the current process is citizens and peer centered, where each case, the lien reduction case comes in front of a board with opportunity for public comments.
On TV.
So on TV, the new proposed process, it will be a closed process, you know? And that is really my concern here. I want an opportunity for the public to see these proceedings on case-per-case basis. That is really my concern here, in a nutshell, really.
I mean, I guess in theory, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, if Joe Citizen isn't treated fairly, there's two steps that they have to file that grievance. One is to go to the city manager. And then secondly, they can still come back in front of council. And again, keep in mind that no citizen has a right to a lien reduction.
It's like long precedent, though. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not talking about the petitioner, I'm talking about the public in large, the neighbors, the citizens of Temple Terrace. That's what I'm talking about.
What are they not getting if we change the process?
Yeah. Ernie and from Pam.
Transparency, they're not seeing the process, the play in actual time.
But,
Right.
can I ask?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
What's the benefit of having the public comment on a lien reduction?
Well, we don't have public comment on lien reduction.
Yeah, so
it's just transparency and local
I know, I
government. That's all.
understand, but
That's generally something you strive for.
David and I, you know, when we saw this opportunity, we're excited for it. In my opinion, to have it because they can do a whole package and it'll be faster and all that. That's why I'm for it. I'm very excited. That's why I'm happy that Ernie has the experience and he can get that ordinance going. And other cities are doing it. So
Property, and it gets fixed. That's all I care about.
I think everybody's for it being expedited and faster and all that. I haven't heard anybody say they want it to be drawn out or anything like that. I think the only concern he has that he's vocalized is that the transparency seems to be diminishing and centralizing rather than being in public view. And I agree with him. I would only add to this that there be a requirement every 2 weeks. If Ernie's done one of the agreements, he goes to council and they put the stamp on it, and that's it. And I don't think that would hinder the process at all. I mean, maybe by a few days, but I think it's worth it so that we don't have backdoor kind of potential for backdoor things and.
Well, you know, again, if that happened, you would. I'm pretty sure you would hear about it pretty quickly. I think there's just a disagreement in theory that we can't somehow allow our council to handle that. I mean, I think the greater good is served by expediting this and taking away that extra layer of approval or process. And I understand what you're saying. I mean, certainly we all strive for transparency, but I think if I'm a investor, it's more transparent. I know what I'm getting into if I buy a distressed property versus rolling the dice and having to come in front of us and be less transparent in front of us to tell us things that aren't necessarily true in order to get a lien reduction. And that happens time and time again.
And probably also they will put the timing on that, where if they don't pay within this certain time, get this done, revet to no lien reduction, it'll go back to the original lien.
So if, let me,
That's correct. If they don't meet, the way it's, certainly set up is an agreement, which by the way would be signed by the city manager.
right,
If they don't meet the terms of that agreement, then
just like it
the
does.
agreement's
just like now.
rejected.
Yeah.
You know,
Just like
it's-
now. That if you don't pay it,
We're gonna take a vote.
okay,
I
so,
don't have enough knowledge to vote, I'm gonna abstain anyway. I don't know enough about this to vote. I
Okay.
just don't.
okay. So if you're suggesting,
I'm not gonna.
I'll make a motion, Samir, if you
yeah,
if you want me
that's
to.
what
I mean, I
well,
just
that's what I was
wanna
gonna say.
encapsulate what you're thinking.
It sounds to me like the motion that one of you is trying to, is thinking about making is that there be something put in the ordinance that the final approval comes back in front of city council. Is that,
The motion is that you go to city council and make a recommendation that they add that process at the end.
okay, but ultimately that's what you're looking for.
I think does that go along with what you're thinking would help the process in a way that makes it more
Make the motion, we'll see where
transparent?
it goes. Just hang out, just
I just
2
want to have
minutes.
the discussion, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I think it's important that you get a chance.
I mean, reading the tea leaves, I could see that, they're pretty happy with the way it currently is, and so
So, go
I think
ahead.
if I make a motion, we can do
Yeah,
it,
let's-
and then
Yeah, let's just make a
kibosh
motion
it.
and see where it lands.
Do you want to do it since it's your, this is your, I'm happy to, but I just want
yeah.
to make sure I cover what you want so that we can get it.
Go ahead, do it, and I'll second if it is, or I'll ask for amendment.
Okay, I motion that, David, as chair of the Code Enforcement Board, make a recommendation to City Council at the next meeting that, we change the proposed, lien reduction, language proposal to include a final process in which the recommendation made by, or the agreement made by Ernie, and Pam, on behalf of the city, be finalized at the next city council meeting, for finalization.
Like, be voted on by city council.
Correct, yeah, just approved by
Okay,
them.
we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. So,
You didn't vote for your own second, or is it implied that you?
well, you didn't vote, so.
Um,
You didn't say yes or no.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
It seemed like so it looks like, is it 3-2 then?
It's, well, let's do a roll call vote. Rod, yes or no?
Yes.
Abstain.
Abstain?
No.
No?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay, so the motion passes, and I will bring it in front of council, and they'll do what they're gonna do. So,
perfect.
but you should understand that I'm gonna explain to them what happened here tonight. Now, just, also, just so the record is clear, and because I just took a course on it, you guys did not talk to each other about this before tonight, correct?
No.
Correct. Okay. Because that would be a violation.
I didn't know that we were,
Okay, so neither one of you knew, I mean,
so I did hear that from James, this morning, or this afternoon, he called me that it would be brought up in new business.
okay, but that's okay, you can talk to James.
Yeah, that's.
You two didn't talk to each other?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So, at the next city council meeting, I will, under under items not on the agenda, actually, probably, I don't know, Ernie, should we have a,
Well, they're gonna first read.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a first reading, so I guess I would bring it up, they're under, when they ask for public comment before the first reading, I'll bring it up then.
Makes sense. Yep.
So, and we'll see where it goes. But once again, it's a recommendation from us, they have the power, so. Okay, anything else? Meeting, motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you, I appreciate you staying.
You missed her.